My double-page spread is similar in some ways to other double-page spreads used for documentaries and other TV programmes, as the conventions I have used are conventions that would be used normally in double-page spreads for magazine advertising, television programmes or documentaries. I did a lot of work into looking into typical conventions of a double-page spread. These are some of the conventions I investigated when conducting my research. Pull quotes, screenshots or freeze frames of the documentary, text boxes that are filled with captions, different colours for questions and answers within the articles, headings and subheadings, images, either central or angled. This helped to raise the idea about if the page was dominated by the image or not. When the image appeared to dominate the page, it did prove an overall increased aesthetic appeal. However, there wasn't much room left for other important information that should have been on the page if the image did appear too big, as we have seen in some previous examples. Whether the article was in columns, which it usually was, as this is a must in my opinion for a successful double-page spread. Whether there was a consistent colour theme running through the page. I also looked at the tone and language that was in some of other articles for double-page spreads. I found that the tone and language did differ from each double-page spread, as they were for different kind of documentaries. The main 4 differences in the tone and language I recognised were the following. Informal language, which would help to influence the public's opinion more, as it was more colloquial, and the interpretation of the documentary from the writer's perspective did differ depending on the subject. Formal language. There were not many double-page spreads that I came across that had a formal use of language, as this made the article more rigid and boring and intended to bore the reader. A nostalgic tone. This was whether the article had reverberated the past. For example, an article that had a very nostalgic tone was a documentary based on a World War I. From this research, I found that my article would be better if I could make it more informal and colloquial, as it would fit the targeted audience more, and I would be able to offer my documentary in a different light. I also wanted to consider how the type of article would affect the double-page spread. The main types of article for double-page spreads were question and answer, research into a particular topic or person featured within the documentary, or a review of the documentary from the writer's perspective. I decided that I wanted my double-page spread to follow the question and answer structure that I'd seen most commonly used in double-page spreads, but I wanted to challenge the conventions of the article within the double-page spread, as I thought it would look better if I had 2 types of articles in one. So at the beginning of my article, I wanted a little insight into the band, so this sort of linked in with the research into the topic of the documentary I have previously described.